We trust the ground beneath our feet. We anchor our cities to it. We build towers that scrape the sky. But what happens when the earth decides to move? When the very foundation we depend on turns against us? Earthquakes strike without warning. They don't negotiate. They don't discriminate. And in seconds, decades of ambition can fall into dust. This is not just the story of destruction. This is the story of how we learn, how we adapt, and how we fight back. This is Nature versus Infrastructure. Episode 4. When the Earth Shakes. Beneath us, colossal slabs of rock called tectonic plates are in constant motion. They push, they pull, they grind past each other, storing unimaginable energy. For decades, even centuries, the pressure builds until it breaks. When it does, seismic waves ripple outward, an invisible force capable of toppling skyscrapers and reshaping coastlines. The scale of an earthquake is measured in magnitude. Its human impact? That depends on what we've built and whether it was ready to face the shaking earth. April 18, 1906. At 5:12 a.m., San Francisco awoke to chaos. A magnitude 7.9 quake ruptured nearly 500 kilometers of the San Andreas Fault. Buildings collapsed instantly. Gas lines ignited. For 3 days, fires raged through the city. More than 80% of San Francisco was destroyed. Over 3,000 lives were lost. But from this devastation came the birth of modern earthquake engineering, reinforced steel frames, fire-resistant materials, the first seismic building codes. San Francisco didn't just rebuild, it learned, and it became a blueprint for cities worldwide. No nation has adapted like Japan. Straddling multiple tectonic boundaries, Japan endures hundreds of quakes every year. Some are minor tremors, others catastrophic. The 1995 Kobe earthquake killed more than 6,000 and caused $200 billion in damage. But instead of succumbing, Japan transformed. Today, its skyscrapers sway like trees in the wind. Bridges flex and twist without snapping. Entire buildings float on shock-absorbing pads that reduce shaking by over 90%. Yet even with these innovations, nature still tests them. Like in 2011, when a magnitude 9.0 quake unleashed a tsunami that forever scarred the nation. Japan's lesson is clear. You can't stop the earth from moving, but you can choose how you stand when it does. February 6, 2023. A magnitude 7.8 earthquake ripped through southern Turkey and northern Syria. Entire cities shuddered awake as concrete towers swayed, then pancaked. In just over a minute, more than 50,000 lives were lost and millions were displaced. This wasn't just about magnitude, it was about vulnerability. Many buildings, hastily constructed and poorly reinforced, couldn't withstand the shaking. Critical hospitals and emergency centres collapsed, crippling rescue efforts when they were needed most. But even amid the devastation, stories of resilience emerged. Newly built structures that followed modern seismic codes stood firm, providing a stark lesson for the future. The Turkey-Syria quake revealed a harsh truth. It's not only the strength of the Earth's movement that determines the scale of disaster, it's the strength of what we build. January 12, 2010. Port-au-Prince, Haiti. A magnitude 7.0 earthquake struck just 25 kilometers from the city center. It lasted only 35 seconds, but in that moment, more than 200,000 lives were lost. Buildings weren't built to bend. Poorly reinforced concrete shattered like glass. The tragedy wasn't just geological, it was structural, political, and social. Rebuilding Haiti means more than replacing walls. It means redesigning them to survive the next quake. Earthquakes are rare in Australia, but on 28th of July 2025, the Earth reminded everyone that rarity doesn't mean immunity. A magnitude 6.9 quake struck near Macquarie Island in the Southern Ocean, sending tremors across a vast distance. Hours later, a magnitude 4.8 aftershock rattled Wildcatchem in Western Australia's wheat belt, just 200 kilometres from Perth. Over 400 people reported feeling the ground move. Walls groaned, windows rattled. Even in Kalgoorlie, more than 400 kilometres away, people woke to the unsettling sway of their homes. No buildings collapsed, no lives were lost, but the event exposed a weakness. Most of the region's structures, historic brickwork, unreinforced walls, were never built for seismic stress. Engineers began assessments immediately, retrofitting vulnerable sites and urging new standards. This was more than a tremor. It was a message. Even the most stable-looking ground can betray you. Around the globe, engineers are reimagining what it means to build for an unstable planet. Mexico City's skyscrapers rest on deep foundations designed to absorb seismic energy. California's bridges use sacrificial fuses that break strategically, preventing catastrophic collapse. Nepal blends ancient wood and stone interlocking methods with modern steel reinforcements to rebuild temples that sway rather than crumble. Resilience isn't just technology, it's philosophy. We don't build to resist the earth, we build to move with it. Earthquakes will come again. They don't care about borders, politics, or ambition, but their aftermath reveals who we are, not in the moment of shaking, but in how we rise afterward. Will we crumble, or will we build stronger? This has been Nature versus Infrastructure. Subscribe to see how our greatest creations stand or fall when nature takes the stage.